Hello, guys. Welcome. Hello, guys. Welcome back to this new live streaming dedicated to this immense analysis of the final episode of Attack on Titan or Shingeki no Kyojin. Welcome back. The weekend is over, and now it's time to go on to try to finish this week, this long analysis. First of all, I want to say that not only this live streaming will be available, but on in the afternoon, my afternoon, that means in about 5 hours, I will start another live streaming. So today we have a double live streaming on the channel. So stay tuned and keep on watching. So far, we reached a moment that is quite important. So I wait in the meantime a few seconds that you join. So then we are able to start going on with these analysis that takes quite a long time, but who cares? Because the most important thing is to enjoy all these together. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them. If you want to tell me your opinion about the ending, if you liked it, if you didn't, why you liked it, why you didn't. So feel free to tell me all of your thoughts, especially now that we don't need any spoiler anymore. I mean, we don't need, I don't need to tell you, please don't put any spoiler anymore. So feel free to tell me what you really think. Okay, previously, I want to start immediately. We reached the moment in which Armin and Zeke were having that beautiful dialogue together. If you didn't watch the previous analysis, you find all the links in the description below. So feel free to start from the beginning or from the pieces of the analysis that you really want. By the way, I wanted to go back a few seconds because I wanted to analyze, first of all, the question that Zeke is asking Armin, because throughout this weekend I kept thinking about what I told you so far, and sometimes I could develop some other things that might be quite important for me to tell you. For example, when before even starting the dialogue between Zeke and Armin, Zeke is approaching him by asking him a specific question. Sorry, I wanted to move a little bit of the screen so I can relax myself. Otherwise, I was like this all the time. And one of the main questions that Zeke is asking before underlining his point of view and before Armin let him change his mind about the concept of life, um, he is asking, I mean, Armin is asking, no, sorry, Zeke is asking Armin, are you consumed by Ymir too? I just wanted to go back a few seconds to try to explain you this new idea that came up into my mind that actually refers to this question. The reason why I say this is because when Zeke is saying, are you consumed by Ymir too? This reminds me for a second Zeke's point of view related even to Eren, because of what Eren says later together with Armin. As you can see in this story, everything seems chained through events, through dialogues, and whatever. So, not only, in my opinion, he is referring to himself when he's talking about Ymir and this way to consume others because of the fact that Zeke keeps going on searching for new ideas to try to stop all these and to try to get in touch with Ymir more, but also because I think that Zeke is referring to Eren himself, because throughout this final season, Zeke had the chance to talk to Eren, to approach him, and to have a certain dialogue with him, and probably even Zeke recognized there was a huge change in his personality, and maybe even Zeke noticed that this huge power that Eren was handling in this final season reached him so badly, and in such a high speed that could control his thoughts, that could manipulate his thoughts, and could confuse him quite a lot, and was consuming him. So um, I don't think that what I told you in the previous analysis was referred to himself only, even if we know that even Zeke was pretty consumed by Mir throughout the time he was spending in the dimension paths. But I think that Zeke was even referring to Eren, not only because he's the big brother, but and he tries his best to save him. And when we will rewatch Shingeki no Kyojin in the future, now that, as I told you many times, now that we have all the elements that we know because we reached the ending, we can go back in the past, look at some of the scenes. Some of the iconic scenes of all seasons and understand what these characters mean. Because now that I'm thinking about it, even the fact that Zeke wanted to save Eren, and he told him desperately in season 3, part 2, when they met for the first time, and they were having these sort of dialogue together. And now that I wanted to save you is. Or I mean, next time we will meet, I will do my best to save you. Maybe, yeah, even that sentence has now an importance that is totally different. So I will talk about this when we will go back analyzing each season. So if you want, stay tuned and keep on watching. But now, okay, now I can go back to the moment that I ended the live streaming last time. That is exactly the moment in which Zeke, after realizing what Armin was telling him about the concept of life and how we should spend time living our lives, um, not only paying attention on our goals, but even try to treasure moments that can define our personality or can affect our personality, but even affect or at least modify or make these events precious even to others. The meaning of life that stands for I was not born because I have to reach the goal only. I was also born to treasure memories with others, to understand that even small things can make our lives really important, relevant, and not just for us, but even to the people we have in front of us. In the case we live some experiences with others, and in fact, Armin was quoting the moment in which he was running towards that tree together with Mikasa and Eren, and he was saying, I was born to run towards that tree on top of the hill. That makes you understand not only these precious moment between friends when usually friends are challenging themselves. Oh, I will reach first. Oh, I will reach first. Let's see who's going to reach the tree first. But also, uh, he was born because he was a relevant person in this story, even thanks to the moment that he's reaching the tree with his friends, because then he will be the one who will save humanity. So, by telling you many times that every action has a consequence, it was like as if for Armin this was an anticipation of what was happening in his life later. So I think that by that small moment, he from that small moment he could understand that later maybe this memory would have lasted forever in his mind, and even now that they are experiencing something really negative from their perspective because they know they have to kill their best friends. On the other side, he could experience things that are quite undeniable and unforgettable. But yeah, I think that Armin's dialogue with Zik is super powerful. I mean, you can understand that after this dialogue, not only Armin has always had the goal to awaken Eren throughout the season when Eren was feeling powerless or hopeless, mentally speaking. Because, yes, while Eren was trying to awake Armin, physically speaking, to react and to do some things, in the case of Armin, he's awakening Eren throughout the seasons, while Eren feels mentally unconscious or mentally confused, or he feels hopeless and whatever. But I think that, yeah, Armin played a great role to awaken the Jaeger brothers, because not only he was able to reach Eren directly into his heart, but he was even able to reach even Zeke, thanks to this dialogue, and help him reach death peacefully. I think that this is a pretty important. That's the same thing that Armin is trying to do with Eren later, when we will see this memory that it's involving both of them. So Armin has this important role too. That means not only to save humanity, but let even these characters find the peace before dying. That it's something that we shouldn't underestimate, because, as I told you even on Friday, when we approach death, we should be able to convey the messages we have never tried to do before. We should say the most important things for the last time. We should meet the people we have always loved, or to convey something that was never conveyed, or even to change our mind, especially when we are approaching death and we know that time is reducing, and we feel that it's something imminent happening. Not only we have the fear of death, but we also have the fear that we don't have the right time to say the last things, or to do the last things. So I think that Zeke knew for sure that that was his time limit, and that he couldn't live forever, because he couldn't even know if it was possible to erase these Titans' power. So he knew that he had a few times left. But the good thing it was that before dying, he was able to reach a sort of a peaceful mind, and some sort of a reliefs that could help him to rest in peace later. So I think that even in this case, we needed to thank Armin for this. But by the way, now, yes, we reached the moment in which, after talking to Armin, he is looking behind him, and he is finding the previous Titan owners. Basically, he is reaching Kruger, Grisha, Xava, Porco, Marcel, and Ymir. All these characters who seems to have, and even Bertold later is appearing for sure. All these characters seem to have something unsolved, or something that they left aside, that should be solved before they finally rest in peace. So we know that Historia has always wanted to talk to Ymir, that means her best friend, for the last time, and even Ymir didn't want to die for sure, because she also wanted to meet Historia other times, even if she was forced, let's say, um, as a debt to repay, to end her life and give her power to Porco, but then, sorry, to Marcel, but then Marcel passed the power to um, wait a second, I'm confusing myself. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay, okay. To Porco, because Porco was the Joe Titan. And then we have even Xaver, that we know that it was a relevant person, an important person for Zeke. And maybe even Xaver wanted to spend more time with Zeke or to tell him some other things. Especially Grisha and the Kruger. We didn't know so much about Kruger's past life, and it would be so interesting if you think about it to learn more about his background story. But definitely, we have a more extended version of Grisha's life, so we understand how many regrets Grisha had throughout the times. So I think that all these characters have these in common: the fact that they had something to say still, but they couldn't do it because of the course of events. And we know these regret could last for a long time. So, yeah, I wanted to start from here once again. So, today we are going to uh, start now here. Yes, let me just go a few seconds before these so we understand entirely. Okay, I have to. Sorry, because I kept it here for all these days, and now I have to refresh the page for a second. Okay. Yes, let me go a few seconds. Okay. Okay. And then we have these vision. But as you can see, while wait, let me go back. I wanted to wait because I noticed the one thing. Okay, so as you could notice, Kruger is looking somewhere else. That means he doesn't have to say anything to the guy who's the hello, welcome. So yes, Kruger is looking somewhere else. Grisha and Xaver are looking at him because they are directly connected to Zeke, personally speaking, even as for a family. I mean, as for blood, because Grisha is he's a biological father, while Xaver is the acquired one. And then we have Porco and Marcel, and even Ymir, that they look, all of them, they look somewhere else because what they have to solve, let's say, before resting in peace, it's not directly connected to Zeke, but to their personal story. So I really like even these small detail in which you see that only Xaver and Grisha look at him because they have something to say to him or something to solve with him, while all the others have their own life, their own stories, but they kept feeling stuck over there because of several reasons. I don't know why Kruger felt like this, and that's why we would like to know. Yeah, maybe because, of course, he is connected to Eren somehow by being the Shingeki no Kyojin owner, previous owner, and because he was the one who said, thanks to the memories from the future that Eren from the future showed him, that he had to save Mikasa, Armin, and all the others, trying to convince Grisha to do what he asked him to do. So, as you can see, this story is amazing because not only you have powerful dialogues, as much as I told you many times, but you even have some images, some symbols directly connected to the story to make the story becoming deeper and more effective, even thanks to these tools, so or features. So I think that's quite relevant. Okay, let's go ahead. Yeah. In the meantime, while Reiner is completely destroyed. I mean, in this moment, sorry that I move one more time at the screen so you can see me better. yes, here we go. But Reiner is completely destroyed right now. He's by himself, and he is trying his best to be one versus all these previous Hammer Titans owners. And I wanted to underline another thing. It was really nice, if you think about it, to see the previous Titan owners, especially even these Hammer Titans, that they have a different hammer throughout the time. I mean, one you see that it's like the a hammer that resembles death because it has that sort of a hammer that has the shape of uh, how usually death is portrayed throughout the times. And then you have other hammers. So I really liked to see all of these hammer titans because physically speaking, they don't change so much. Even if, yeah, here on their faces they have a different way to represent themselves. But as for the body, they don't modify so much, while they modify the hammer that they hold to try to attack others. And this was really nice. If you notice, even the arrows that they throw, and they are on Reiner's body, they are all different. So they all represent each different Titan Hammer Titan's owner, and I really liked these choices sincerely. Not only because I've always wanted to see the previous Titan owners and how they were. So I don't know if a prequel in the future will be available, will be possible, in which we can see even the previous Titan owners at that time of 2,000 years before, or not. That would be so interesting, personally speaking. I hope that this thing can happen because not only because I really love this story, but also because I like to dig more and more and more into this story. So let's see in the future what Isayama wants to do, or if someone else can help Isayama making a prequel, or maybe Isayama is helping this someone else who wants to go ahead with the story, and maybe just to say yes or no to the ideas that other people wanted to work on. But let's see. Anyway, let's go ahead. The Reiner is in a condition that is pretty terrible and miserable. I like the moment in which Johnny is calling his name and Reiner is trying to survive. That gives me chills because we understand how these characters changed throughout the seasons, and then anyway they go back to the start. I think that this was a nice way to end the circle by knowing, yeah, by knowing this thing, by knowing that. You can end the circle by going back to the start. It's so amazing the concept of the story as it is, because we know how Isayama liked to end the circles, to end the circle and go back to the start and relive things once again, etc., etc. Not only through subjects, but even through characters. Oh wow. And see, even in this case, we have to thank Annie for sure, because if Annie was not there, John and Pick couldn't survive. Well, when Annie now is without her hand, one of her hands, and she's sitting at the bottom of these skeleton, a huge skeleton that was created because of the shape of the Shubino Kyojin. Yeah, this reminds me for a second the season one, in which, in the moment in which Annie felt almost hopeless in the forest when she was attacked by Mikasa, and then, if, of course, in that moment, Mikasa was taken away by Levi. But I like these moments that you can capture, that they are so similar to season one, for the principle that I told you a few seconds ago. That is to try to end the cycle or the circle of events based not only on symbols and events, but even through characters. This is amazing because if Isayama planned this from the beginning, as much as he has always said, okay, that he put some modifications, definitely, but the fact that he has always said that he thought about this story or this type of ending from the beginning makes him superlative, in my opinion. Let me go ahead. Oh, now there is something that we would have never expected. Because minutes before this, Bertold was controlled by this power that Eren has. And in fact, we saw previously speaking that Bertold was attacking Reiner and was almost letting him die in this case because we understood that Bertold has a certain thought about Reiner, but at the same time he was also controlled by Eren's power. So he was feeling impotent because he couldn't manage anything. He couldn't do, physically speaking, he couldn't move his body as much as Armin was feeling in the same moment in which he was debating himself towards, I mean, against his own body. So as you can see, once again, Armin and Bertold, they have lots of things in common, more than we think. And they own even, they owned the same Titan. So these colossal proportion compared to their difficulty to do something is quite amazing because it's creating these huge opposite. And not only this, even the definition of the colossal titan as for the god of destruction that is quietly proportioned to their will of not doing any sort of destruction or to feel a regret for it. So this is quite amazing. But anyway, here Bertold seems to be able to control his titan form as before, and this is awesome because while previously he was attacking against his will Reiner and trying even to push his head so he could delete him not only as a titan but to erase him from earth. In this case he can save his friends. And while Pik, Jan, and Annie or Reiner feel in this moment in which they are hopeless, Bertold, thanks to what Armin told Zik previously, or at the same time while they are having this dialogue, Bertold can help his form to not be controlled anymore by Eren's power, but he can make his moves based on what he thinks. And that's something awesome. I mean, to see even Bertold and his will that is to protect his friends, especially Annie and Reiner, who were even co-workers, team workers, let's say, because they were all having the same sort of goal, and Bertold, more than anybody else, could understand Reiner and Annie while they were doing what they were doing. I think Bertold is exactly, I mean, proportionally speaking, on the same level as Armin because Bertold can understand Annie and Reiner on one side, while Armin can understand so much Mikasa and Eren on the other one. So both of these colossal titans want to protect their dear friends, the friends who they spend time together with, and the friends who have always shown them um, the will to stay together and proceed together, even if things might have been hard to handle. But these teamwork that it's not only a teamwork, but it's like a family because they were so little when Bertold, Annie, and Reiner had to reach the goal together, and they were becoming like a family, even if they have. had their own families to reach back. But I think that the time they have spent together throughout that mission made them become a family, even if maybe they can't recognize this. But as for Armin, Eren, and Mikasa, who created not only a team but a family, because they have always experienced the good and bad things together. I think that Bertold, Reiner, and Annie had the same valuation as for a team, not only a team, but a family that becomes family in the moment in which you have a hard time and you try to survive, in which the good moments, even if they were just a few moments, and as a paradox, these good moments that they had, they were having them while they were in paradise and not while they were living in Liberio. So, as you can see, all these characters have a great connection. But for a second, just for a second, I want to go back and watch in season two a scene that was pretty memorable. That is the moment in which Bertold is talking to all of them while, for sure, the Paradise people understood that the betrayals were Reiner and Bertold and even Annie in season one. But what Bertold is saying to them now more than ever um, gives you a deep meaning, even by analyzing his body language. I mean, the way in which Bertold was crying at that moment while they had to run away with Eren, and all the others, Mika's Armin, and all the others were trying, they were struggling to not let them do this. Yeah, Bertold is crying and he is speaking and he's saying out loud what he really felt at that time. Usually, Bertold has never spoken so much, has never told others so many things. Reiner was the one talking in front of all the others and taking even the responsibility of what they were doing. But in that moment, finally, Bertold was releasing his feelings out loud. So I wanted to go and watch this scene once again because it's exactly reconnected to these moments in which we see Bertold in action once again. Um, Let me see if I can find it. Bertold talking to Armin or not to the to others. Let's say, let's see if I can find this moment. Yeah, not only in season three. Ah, yes, yes. Here we go. Yes, yes. No, it's not this one at the moment. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Here, here, here. Ah, now, John, in this moment of season two, they captured Eren, and John is trying to convince Bertold that they were friends, and they still have time to say that they are their friends. And if they say that they are friends, they are going to forgive them. This moment is priceless. Mm. Connie is asking Bertold in this case, was everything just a lie? Memorable. Remember when we talked about the surviving these together? This is amazing. If you think about what we reached now, in which actually they are trying to survive for the same thing together. and that we would have grown old and someday we would all go out for drinks together. That's what's happening later. I mean, this is awesome because now is exactly, Connie is exactly saying what they are doing now from now on, because they will stay friends. They will try to meet as much as possible. Okay, without Eren for sure, but we understand that what they were saying in season two and hoping for season two, now it's happening in this final season. Was everything all a lie? What were you guys thinking this whole time? And Mikasa at that time said, what was it even matter anymore? See the difference of Mikasa's character, because in that moment in season two, Mikasa was totally depending on Eren. And at this point, I wanted to say this, the story couldn't change, also because Mikasa was still depending on Eren. In the moment in which Mikasa stopped depending on Eren, the story could change. So I'm talking about this concept of toxic love that was definitely erased in the moment in which Mikasa changed all things. And while Eren was trying desperately throughout the season to change things without having any sort of a result, now we understand more than ever that the changes should have not started from Eren trying to modify the course of events. But the real change happens with Mikasa when she finally decides to stand up and make a choice, killing Eren, and at the same time, the one who was entitled, let's say, to end this Titan's power was her, not Eren. Or let's say, with a collaboration of Eren too. But let's be honest, all the times that Eren was saying, look, I wanted to change some things, but I can't change anything. And he was even crying for this. I can't change anything. I can't change anything. It was because Mikasa was still depending on him. The moment in which you see that Mikasa makes her choice and she's not depending anymore on him, things are changing forever in this case. Maybe, maybe. Eh, see, Mikasa is saying, try to focus on cutting his neck. That means, Bertold, if you hesitate for a moment, we won't be able to get Eren back. Yes, because at that time, her goal was this only. I mean, she wanted to have Eren back, because for her, the most important thing was to have Eren back. She was never thinking about something else. That means, let's try to hear what Bertold has to say. That was a nice question, if everything was a lie or not. Let's see if he also has a story to tell, and let's see if we can't be so superficial to hear just what we want to hear and not what he really has to say. In that moment, Mikasa was completely blind, and she didn't have even the patience to hear things differently, as much as she was having the possibility to hear other stories in the final season, the moment in which she was separated from Eren. So, so as you can see, in this moment, she felt separated from Eren, but she couldn't hear anybody else's story because her story to have Eren back was more important than the solution of all these trauma that all these characters have in common. But now Mikasa thinks differently. Now Mikasa had in the final season the chance to sit in front of a fire, to talk to others, to listen to others, and little by little she was reaching her final choice. Uh, Mikasa in this moment is saying they are the enemies of humanity. But Bertold replies in this way. Bertold says, tell me who the hell would want to kill people by their own choice? Okay, I wanted to open a bracket. Later, we understand the Bertold's background story. Of course, Bertold had even the memories of the previous owner of his Titan, that we don't know who that person was. But at the same time, this question, can we refer it to Eren too? The reason why I say this is because people absolutely believe that Eren had a goal throughout his life, that nobody could have stopped him, that the real goal was to exterminate 80% as it was, or let's say he wanted to exterminate all humanity except from Paradise. But can we use this question also for Eren? That means, I repeat the question, who the hell would want to kill people by their own choice? Yes, Eren seems to be that person. I mean, seems to be the person who wants to kill everyone without even, I mean, by his own choice. That's what happened not only with the Liberius attack, but even with the rumbling, based on what he saw from the future by being a container of a power that can reach not only the past but even the present and the future simultaneously. That means at the same time. But there are other people who believe that Eren did this not because it was his initial choice to exterminate all humanity, but because there was a consequence. I mean, he experienced some things, and then as a consequence, he decided to take this choice to exterminate everyone. I wanted to remind you, anyway, the moment in which he is rescuing Ramsey, for example. He knows that he will kill that boy later, thanks to the rumbling. But we see in that scene while he rescues Ramsey the real intention that he has and the conviction that is controlling him. There are, in my opinion, two different things. I mean, he is convinced for sure about what he's doing. So, this conviction is controlling absolutely Eren's character throughout the final season. But at the same time, he has the instinct to go and rescue that boy, to rescue someone and not to be the terminator of everyone in that fragment, right? As much as when he is seeing that the pregnant woman that later we discover that is the same woman with the beautiful scene of the baby that I have analyzed the two analyses before. We even see the moment in which he talks to Falco, and Falco was on the other side at the beginning, but then he's asking his cooperation. I mean, if Eren wanted to exterminate all of them, everyone, I don't think that he would have had those confused moments or moments of which in which the instinct is paying a little bit of importance in that fragment that is confusing Eren and what he has to do. So mm, I think that Eren thought about the rumbling because, as much as he is also saying, he tried so many times in other ways to modify the story, but he couldn't. So, all the times who was trying to modify the story, was he trying to modify it because I mean, without killing others, or he is referring to the moment in which, for example, he started the Liberius attack because maybe from the future he saw that the Sasha was dying, so he was trying to avoid that death, but then it happened anyway, or so many other things that he did even previously by trying to protect the Historia and to try to fake to cooperate with Zeke. So, I mean, he tried multiple times, but in the moments he was trying multiple times, did he have the intention to exterminate all humanity? Or for him, I mean, for Eren, the extermination of humanity is just the last option probable for him? That doesn't mean absolutely that we can excuse what he did, but I'm just talking about a story that is a fantasy story, and I'm just analyzing for a second the fantasy story as it is. So I'm just trying to say, if what Bertold said in season 2 can be evaluated good in a good way, even for Eren in this case, because Eren, his first intentions, I mean, the first intention of Eren in season 1 was to exterminate all the Titans. So he didn't have from the beginning the will to exterminate other people, also because he didn't know that humanity was residing even after the wars. So these trials to try to find a new way to change the story started from the final season because Historia's hand was touched and kissed, and then he could see all the things happening in the future. Or are we talking about even the various trials that he tried to do based on his will to change the story even before kissing Historia's hand? Absolutely. I mean, we know absolutely that the rumbling is starting based on the idea that Eren was disappointed. And we know that Eren is disappointed in the moment in which he is kissing Historia's hand, because he knows in that moment what happens later, and he knows even that on the other side of the ocean there are other people, and the disappointment stands also for the fact that the what was written in the book that Armin showed him doesn't exactly represent what he might have found on the other side of the ocean, doesn't represent all of these dreams that can come true, and it can't come true anymore. So there are lots of disappointments in Eren's heart in the moment he's kissing his story. He's even disappointed for the fact that he sees that Grisha asks Zeke to stop him, etc., etc., etc. So uh, I don't know, but definitely this Bertolt's question can be referred to Eren only in specific fragments that are detaching the main protagonist from the conviction that he has. So when Eren tries to use the instinct to do something, and this instinct is prevailing for a few seconds on the conviction that he has. When he is rescuing Ramsey, he is doing it, but at the same time later he is saying sorry because he knows that he will kill him. And when he is saying sorry, in that moment. Okay, I wanted to talk about this when we will reach the dialogue between him and Armin, these final moments between the two. But when Ramsey is in front of him and he is crying, I just give you a small input for what's happening later and how I will analyze later. Yes, when he cries in front of Ramsey, do you think that in we needed to remember that Eren can coexist past, present, and future time? So he is able, let's say, to go back even in time, or not to go back in time, but to go specifically to that moment in which it's happening some things in the past, in the present, and at this point in the future too, because all these um, features of time coexist. So when Eren is crying in front of Ramsey, do you think that as much as he is crying in front of Armin later in the episode, is he crying in front of Ramsey by, and these tears represent the same admission, I mean, the same acceptance, but even a way to express directly to Ramsey that he was so disappointed and that he says sorry. So look at this. If I am too convinced about what I have to think and what I have to say, and what are my actions, I can't say sorry, right? So when people criticized that Eren is recognizing later how stupid he was, and it's his way, let's say, to say sorry because he was too convinced, even if he doesn't deny everything that is happening, because in my opinion, okay, we will reach that moment later, but okay, let me go back to what I was saying. If I am sure to delete from earth almost 100% of people, and I am so evil, and I am so bad, mad, and in this case that's why I feel convinced, why do I say sorry? Why in front of Ramsey he said so many times Gomen Nasai? Because if I know what I want to do, and I don't want anybody to try to stop me. And I am, let's say, invincible, even if he's not, but he feels like that, that he has all the power to choose everything. And yeah, nobody can try to stop him in these. So a person that is so sure, you know what I mean? Why he had to say so many times sorry to Ramsey? That's why I don't understand the people who are criticizing the last dialogue between Eren and Armin. Because what Eren is trying to do with Armin, sincerely, that is admitting what he did without, let's say, without, I mean, by saying that if he would have gone back in time, he would have redone it. But the fact that he is crying and he is saying, I was so stupid, I am an idiot, etc., etc. And then with Ramsey, it's even if he didn't use the same words, saying, I am an idiot, he said sorry 5 times, if I'm not wrong, to Ramsey, and crying for what he was doing. So, anyway, even in that moment with Ramsey, there is a sort of confirmation between Eren, who is completely completely aware of what he will do because he has to reach the goal, and the Eren who is admitting that what he is doing is something really idiot. By asking sorry to Ramsey so many times, if I am so evil that I wanted to exterminate all of these people, I don't say sorry. But if I say sorry, it means that I am not completely mad or bad, let's say. I'm not completely evil if I say sorry. If I am completely evil, I just laugh in front of Ramsey and say, ha ha, ha okay, see. Or I don't even try to save him. Even if I know that later I'm going to kill him in a certain way. But I don't try to save him. I don't try to say sorry. That's why people who are condemning later's Eren and Armin's dialogue, sincerely, I don't understand them. Just because he's in front of Armin, okay, but we will talk about later because it is becoming too long otherwise. See you when we will go back to that scene of the dialogue. In the meantime, let's go on. Sorry, I wanted to finish this first. Bertold says, who the hell would like doing this sort of thing? So, if we can, okay, let's say it like this. Why we could understand Bertold and we couldn't understand Eren just because of the proportion of the population that is erased? But to me, they are all equal at this point because everyone killed someone in this story. So just because Eren gets rid of 80% of humanity can be considered more evil than Bertold, who exterminated other people just by transforming into a titan. I mean, just because we have millions of people versus 100,000 people, we can condemn Eren and we don't condemn Bertold. No. I mean, we are not talking about numbers because even if you kill a person, you are already condemned, in my opinion. So if we say that Eren is more evil than Bertolt and all the others, we are making a huge mistake here. We should not pay attention on the number of people who were erased in this story, but we should pay attention on who did this, and we should pay attention on the fact that even if, for example, Armin, let's say Connie, okay, killed one person, eh, this is equal to a person who killed many others, because anyway you kill. So the principle shouldn't be we condemn Eren because he killed 80% of the population, so he has to be considered as the evil character or as the evil side. No, they are all evil in a different proportion. That's honest, yes, but they all killed someone, so they are all guilty in this, no matter the number of people they killed. So if for Bertold we could understand Bertold because later we understand his background story, because later we understand that he was forced by his parents to become a titan and then to go ahead to incorporate the colossal titan even if he didn't want, etc., etc., etc. In the meantime, he killed. So, if this discussion is valid for Bertold, it should be valid even for Eren. Even if Eren keeps saying, I was born in this way, but sincerely, yes, in small fragments of the episode Memories from the Future, we noticed that Eren, even if he was an infant, he didn't like to be stopped by anyone, etc., etc., for this desperate search for freedom. But since I was born, I was like this. If a person is evil, he or she doesn't rescue others. Did he rescue others not because he cared, but because he saw that other people were trying to erase the possibility of a freedom from these people, and that's why he was rescuing them? But in the case of Ramsey, he was bullied or he was punched by these people because those people wanted to take an advantage on this little boy, because they knew that this little boy used to steal money from others, etc., etc. But Ramsey, this is stupid to say, okay? But Ramsey, by stealing money from others, was stealing something that was a belonging of someone else. And maybe with this money, those people could be free to do other things. And Ramsey, by stealing money from these people, was stealing a certain concept of freedom from them. By the way, Eren is rescuing him, if later, even if later with the rambling he is killing him. But what I'm trying to say is why these sentences can be good for Bertold and not for Eren, just because he started a rambling and just because he exterminated 80% of people. Okay, he wanted to exterminate 100, almost 100%. But even Bertold killed lots of people throughout the years. But with Bertold, we had the feeling that, okay, now that we understand in the final season his story, okay, anyway, he is dead. And we needed to remember that even these way to move the Titan power from one person to the other one, it's something terrifying because one person has to eat another one. This is something tremendous, right? But as I was telling you, yes, I agree with Bertold. Who the hell would like doing this sort of thing? And Aaron in the background that is looking at him. Look, now Aaron has the same face. Yes, so let me turn. Let me go ahead with the brightness. Let me increase it. Now Aaron behind the Bertold in this scene of season 2, episode 11. He is looking at him as much as he was looking at Zeke when he said, "Why did you think that I would have cooperated with you?" Or when he was turning in front of Armin's face, who he tried to say, "In which sort, in which way are you free?" This way of Eren to turn his face. Yes, even in this scene with Bertold, he is doing the same. But even in this case, I agree with Bertold. But in this case, we can read the same sentence even for Eren, who's saying, "Do you think I wanted to do this?" Because let's say that Eren did what he did, in his opinion, because that, the rumbling, in his opinion, was his last choice to make. It was the last choice to be made. There was nothing else. And if he was wrong, because there were many other chances, maybe to change the story or to be different. But in Eren's point of view, the rumbling is the final result after multiple trials to try to change the story. So, if it's good for Bertold, these sentences, why they can't be good for Eren too? In a different way, but they could be good too, right? From my perspective, I don't see the difference. The difference is just on the proportion of the number of the people erased or killed. But for other things, I don't see any difference, sincerely. It's not the number of people who you kill that makes a difference and that makes you understand who is evil and who is less evil. No, in the moment you kill someone, you are already evil. Finished. So we should condemn them all because they all killed someone. Oh, see, here we go. And Eren is looking at him from behind. He's thinking because he's saying, Bertold is saying, people hate and despise us. And he's thinking, well, wait, what is he talking about? Because the one hated, the people hated is us, not them. Why he is saying something like this? And then he's saying, we have done such terrible things. We deserve to die. We deserve to die. Bertold says it. Bertold is saying we deserve to die because we have done such terrible things. Things we will never be able to take back because even for Eren is the same. Even for Eren, he knows that he collected throughout these murders, various murders, things that we will never be able to take back. For sure. Look at when he was saying sorry to Ramsey. Even in that case, he knew in that moment that even if he was saying sorry, he couldn't do anything to prevent what his real convictions were. That means the rambling. So, what Bertold is saying in season two, we can definitely say the same things for Eren now. But let's go on. Eh, but we just couldn't come to terms with our sins. Eren feels the same. He knows that he is sinful. I mean, he knows that he committed such evil things, and that he can't take them back in time and repair for these. And that's why he knows that he has to die because he knows by seeing from the future what will happen to him. He already saw the fact that he will die. And maybe the right thing to do is to proceed with the story in this way because the only way to do was to let him die so he could be even freed from his sins that he knows that he collected throughout the time. And it was his only way, probably, to rest in peace in this way because if he could have lived longer, probably these sins would have consumed him. But in this case, Bertold is totally right. We just couldn't come to terms with our sins. Absolutely. And even in this scene of season two, Bertold keeps crying as much as if all his statements that he made in season two, but even in season three, part two, before transforming, that is his last transformation, in those moments, he definitely understands that he can't go back in time and repay these things. So even when he's in front of Armin and he's crying in this final episode, not only he cries because maybe he is controlled by Eren while he really wanted to protect them, but he is also crying because those scenes, until he will rest in peace, they will never be over. So once he will be able to rest in peace, then he will be able to relieve from his sins. But before that, he can't. If there is still Eren controlling him or controlling his memories and let him be still alive, even if physically he is dead, he is stuck in that place and he can't move forward. Let's say he can't rest in peace. Once the Titan's power is over, let's say, all these previous owners of Titans are gone for real this time. They can rest in peace for real this time, and not because other people will be eaten and this power of Titan will continue. No, once the Titan's power is over, finally all of them can rest in peace. Otherwise, they would have felt connected until the end of this Titan's power. They would have felt connected through the paths forever. So the way in which Bertold is crying in this final episode can be reconnected even to these thoughts that Bertold is saying in season two. As much as I told you already many times, Bertold is crying also because he would like to be able to be uh, to be able to control now his power to help them, but he can't because he is handled by Eren. He is controlled by Eren, and he can't. Ah, exactly. The only time we had some respect was when we pretended to be soldiers. That means when we were in paradise. That's not a lie. And now he is replying to Connie, yes, it's not a lie. See? But I can see these things that Bertold is saying connected even to what Eren is feeling right now. If it's good for Bertold, to me, it's good even for Eren. Because when Bertold now says, but it's not a lie. I mean, what I did was not completely a lie. Eren felt the same throughout this final season. He faked saying things even to Mikasa and Armin when they were not true. And he did it not because he wanted to be evil towards them, but because he expected to detach themselves from him. That means he loved them, but he couldn't say these to them. So what he really felt was not a lie as much as when he's saying sorry to Ramsey. I don't feel that he is lying. When he's saying to Armin that he is an idiot, I don't feel that he is lying over there. But we will reach that moment. Eh, what Bertold is saying here too can be reconduced to Eren too. It's true that we may have deceived everyone, but it's not all a lie. I feel these sentences that Bertold is saying that can be directly connected to Eren's personality too. We really considered you comrades. Neither of us have any right to even apologize. That's Look, if Eren could have said the same things, it was correct because he doesn't have the right to apologize for what he did. But someone, please, someone find us. Yes, because he was referring to the other side of the ocean, etc. Sorry for this huge digression, but I had to tell you or to show you to hear you these things because Bertold is showing now in this final episode when he's trying to help all the others against Eren that he's he's confirming what he has said in season 2. It was not a lie. I definitely felt you as comrades, and in fact here after Zeke and Armin's dialogue, he is taking the control of his form so he can rescue Annie, Reiner, Mikasa, and all the other Connie, Jan, who are struggling in this moment. So once again, Bertold is absolutely reconfirming what in season 2 was saying, that it's not a lie, that they were really friends, especially now more than ever that things were understood. No, even these other characters could understand Bertold's life and could understand that yes, they exterminated people, but now they are all the same because now they all killed someone in this story. Find me one character who didn't kill anyone here. They all killed, all of them. Yeah, maybe the one and only character who didn't kill anybody is Carla. I mean, Carla has never killed anyone, but all the others find me a character who has never killed anyone here. Because they all killed anyone or someone. So they have to feel guilty too. And we know that they feel guilty. And we know that even Armin, John, Connie, and Mikasa in season one, sorry, season four, part two, when the rumbling started, John was even saying, look, he's he's starting the rumbling for our sake. but we also kill the people. We also feel guilty. So he's saving us. Why do we have to why do we have the right to survive when uh, when we also kill the people? Why Eren wants to do this is because he cares about us. But actually, we should have been fair and being killed. Well, I mean, and we also have been wait, and we also should have been killed, and we also should have felt exterminated too because we killed the people. But Eren wants them to survive because he cares. I remember the moment in which Jan was on top of that roof with Connie, Armin, and Mikasa, and he was saying, "Look, he's saving us, but we murdered others too. That means it's unfair because we all killed someone in this story. So why we should survive? Yeah, okay, Eren cares about us. Eren thinks that we have the chance to let this world change. Eren thinks that if we spread this story to others, to new generations, we can modify things. Are we sure? Question mark. Because when we will reach the credit scene, we will talk about hours about that credit scene. Be ready for it. But hmm, hmm. Things can change for real. Mm, okay. Anyway, let's go on now with this final episode because Bertold is helping them. Ah, but wait, he was protecting Reiner for sure, but Bertold, with his form, he's also protecting Annie. And we know that he loved Annie. We don't need to forget this. Bertold is there with his form to protect them, but most of all, he tries to protect Annie, who lost a hand, and she's in the hardest time because she's going to be surrounded by these previous Titan forms of the Hammer Titan. And no, sorry, no, the Hammer Titans are with Reiner, and she's trying to find the Joe Titans, if I'm not wrong. So she is surrounded by these uh, fake Titans created by Eren's power, and Bertold is rescuing her. And then Pick for sure. She feels emotional because, from her perspective, Porco and Marcel were two. In the case of Porco, he was a comrade, but I think she knew even Marcel. So for her, the fact that she's seeing that Porco and Marcel's Titans form, they are helping them. It's pretty emotional because she couldn't prevent them from dying, and in that moment she feels maybe guilty for the fact that she couldn't rescue them, but they didn't die in vain, even in this case, because the Peak will proceed, and all the others will proceed to spread the story, so they will not be forgotten. And I think that this scene is great because you see finally that these Titans forms that were supposed to be controlled by Eren, they are rebelling. When Eren was feeling invincible in this moment because he could control everything, because we know that he has the Titan owners, the founding the Titan's power. He has other powers, so he definitely feels that he's super strong. But this is the proof, once again, that the people who believe they are too convinced, they surely make a mistake or something else is happening to prove them wrong. And here we have the same feeling because Eren, who was supposed to be super strong, nobody could defeat him or this form as a Shubi no Kyojin. He is stopped by these titans who were supposed to be controlled by him because something happened. Something maybe unexpected happened, or let's say, Eren too probably couldn't wait for this happening because by seeing from the future what might have happened, he knew that probably Armin would have had an important role in this story. So he knew maybe that something was going to happen, or maybe not. But I'm just giving you different options so you can think about that too. Right. Reiner recognizes Ymir, the friend of Historia, coming to protect them. And we need to know that Historia as a friend paid with her life these I don't want to say debt, okay, but let's say a way to let the paradise go on living. Because do you remember Ymir sacrificed herself and sacrificed even the relationship with the Historia because she said, look, I'm coming with you, so let them go. I mean, let them be there and don't do anything to them. I'm coming with you. So please, with this sacrifice, take me over there and I will find my way to repay what I did. So even in that case, Reiner, I remember, yes, that Reiner was taking Ymir away, and that beautiful dialogue between her and Historia to separate one with the other one forever. So Reiner has lots of guilt. I mean, he feels guilty for so many things, not just towards Eren, not just towards um, the other comrades, but I think that he feels a sort of regret even towards Ymir because she left Historia. And we know how much Reiner likes Historia. So to see that for because of his decision, because Reiner is always chosen for the others in this group, and he also had expressed this regret that he had because he has always chosen for everyone. But even in that case, Reiner chose to separate Ymir from Historia. We know how much Reiner likes Historia. So even the fact that he could have caused pain into Historia's heart for him is a lot, let's say. And now that he is seeing Ymir once again with her Titan form, with this Joe Titan form, eh, brings him some memories back. No. Eh, look, I like that it's Connie who's saying this, who's asking this question. As much as I told you, and we saw it in season two, Connie was the one who said, was it all a lie? Is it a lie that you are our comrades, our friends? And now in this final episode, he is asking this question. He is saying, is Bertold trying to save us? Wow. See, I told you this story, it's all is a repetition of all these cycles that are ending one after the other one. So amazing. And here Mikasa is replying saying, I don't understand it. Because while in season two, if when Connie asked this question, she said, no, no, don't think about that. The only important thing now to do is to take Eren back. Now, see the change of this character. They say, I don't understand it. she's doubting. While in season two, for her, there was no doubt. Now she is doubting. So even this difference, as for Mikasa as a character, makes a difference, a huge difference. Even if she has a more important goal now because she has to bring Armin back. So, whoa, and then Falco. I mean, we should thank Falco, but we should even thank Gabi. See, I mean, if Falco, sorry, ouch, ouch. If Falco didn't come to help them together with Gabi, probably this story would have ended in a different way. So it was something really, really good that they could have come. They could have had a role in this story, especially Gabi, because Gabi helped, um, helped in this case, Mikasa to let her reach these Okapi, and inside these Okapi there should be Armin. So as you can see, we hated throughout this story Gabi so much, but we should thank her because if she didn't come, especially for the fact that she's so precise with weapons, but if Gabi didn't come here together with Falco and Annie, the story would have been totally different. And in this case, she was the one who helped Mikasa to reach the Okapi. So thank you, Gabi. Wow. Wow. Even the way in which Mikasa now is saying, "Give me back Armin." It reminds me of season one when she desperately wanted to have Eren back, and Annie was keeping Eren next to her. And then, of course, yes, Levi came to stop that scene. But even in that moment, Mikasa was saying, "Give me back Eren." In this case, we move to "Give me back Armin." I wanted to say one thing. I really like the relationship that we find here between Mikasa and Armin. I think that Mikasa now feels how Armin helped her so much in this throughout this final season. If Armin was not there, Mikasa would have lost her mind completely. So the way in which without Eren, Mikasa and Armin could have created the relationship that otherwise it would have been impossible to create. Maybe because of the absence of Eren, for sure. I think that Eren, by pushing them away on purpose, I mean, to push them away from him on purpose in this final season, also did it because he wanted them to create a friendship that was never created before. I mean, so much as for now. Because when Eren will die, Eren is sure that Mikasa will always have a friend like Armin to get next to her, to protect her, or to be there for her in this pain she will feel. So I think that Eren, by pushing them away from him, did it not only on purpose because they had to survive while he couldn't survive, because he saw it from the future that he will not survive. But he but he did this also to be sure that Armin and Mikasa could have created this special bond that they created in this final season. They could that could have helped them even for the future. So I really like the way which Armin was there for Mikasa to comfort her in the worst moments, to always try to tell her positive words so she could have calmed down. As much as I like so much when Mikasa feels how Armin is precious, not only because he is the commander, but because he is right shoulder for her, in which Armin can suggest to him the best things, and he can be there for her. And she is repaying with the gratitude all these love that she could have felt from Armin by saying this iconic statement, give me back Armin, as if while in season one, Eren was the one that she needed the most. Now, in this final season, especially in this final episode, you see that with this give me back Armin, she means that there is someone else she cares of, and that's not only Eren. She really needs Armin too in her life, and this is simply amazing. I liked these words. Yes, and Armin is freed. Let's say, ah, and you see that Okapi keeps. I mean, he wants Armin back, but the Thunder Spear. Yes. Ooh, Armin is saved by Annie. And the way in which they look at each other, right? Now that Annie, and okay, let me reach the point. Pure poetry here. Huh? But anyway, the way in which Annie is looking at Armin while he is on the palm of her hand, and they look each other and they say, Armin, Annie, because Armin finally realizes that Annie came. So for him, okay, on one side he will be afraid for her life for sure, but on the other side, I think that Armin is so happy that she is here with him to get all together to fight for the same purpose. So Armin is realizing that Annie came back to help them, and at the same time, this scene reminds me for sure season one, when Annie tries to be uh, is trying to be defeated by the Chosahedan, and there is this huge plan to get to her and to understand who she is. Later, they will discover that that's Annie. But in that moment in which Annie is taking away for a second this hoodie that Armin was having because of the mantle of the Chosahedan, and Annie looked at him as a Kyojin, as a Titan, as much as in this scene, and she recognized Armin, and then she ran away, she went away because she didn't want to harm Armin. And Armin felt so confused because at that time I said, why this Titan is not attacking me? And then we will discover that the Titan is Annie, so that's why he was not attacked. But yeah, this scene that we see now, in which Armin is freed from the Okapi and he is rescued by Annie, let's say, it reminds me that scene. And it's awesome because see how many connections with the season one. So many things that in this final episode we can find. Awesome. He's saying sorry for the last time because then he's not saying sorry anymore. Armin as a character has always said sorry because you know how he felt throughout all these seasons. But he also says, sorry, everyone, but now I am fine. That means Throughout all these seasons, I wanted to tell you sorry, to say sorry because I felt impotent, and I couldn't rule on my body to react, but now I am fine. So, see, we needed Armin to make this step forward to reach the moment in which he could survive and save humanity. Without that contrast, let's say dialogue versus himself, this would have not been impossible as much as the dialogue that he had with Zeke. If he didn't have these two steps forward, sorry, if he couldn't make these two steps forward, Armin's decisions or Armin's actions would have been different. But thanks to those um, pieces of the puzzle, now things are different. Now we understand that those steps were necessary because now he is fine. Now that he ended these quarreling, I mean, now that he ended this fight against himself, now everything will be okay. Wow, Steven Grisha in action. Kruger. And finally, sorry to say, but finally, we understand who is that Titan form with the horns. Finally, it's Xava. It's Xaver and his Titan's form. That we have always argued. I mean, we have always said about what was Xaver's Titan form. I mean, personally speaking, I was always curious to see his Titan form, and in this final episode, Xaver is back, and finally he can reveal his Titan form. That is absolutely amazing because they are all cooperating, and for a certain reason, I am happy that now Xaver can rest in peace. First of all, because of his uh, difficult life. And with his difficult experiences that traumatized him throughout the years. And also because you remember that Xaver was a scientist who was trying to search a way to know more about the Titans. And now that he was able to understand how to rebel against the Shubino Kyojin, it's like as if he can rest in peace because he also reached that goal. He also understood more about the Titans. That was his life goal. It was his job, principally. And you know that together with Zeke, he kept analyzing these Titan power over and over again, and sometimes he couldn't even he couldn't even have answers to what his doubts were. But to be the protagonist here, together with the other Titan previous forms, and be sure to contrast the Shubino Kyojin based on this awakening based on the fact that they needed to understand that they were not just good because they were used as titans, but they were, but it was worth living for them, even for other reasons, and they could have appreciated their lives. Not just because of what they have lived so far, but even because they could have been the protagonists of this moment in this final episode. So the fact that we see the importance of these previous characters not only for what they did once they were when they were alive, even physically speaking, but even now that they can control what they want to do, and automatically they can finally rest in peace later. When the rumbling will be stopped, at least they got the chance to to have the importance of a change things for real, and it was not just a dream, even for Porco and Marcel. We know how Porco felt when he heard, when he saw, thanks to Marcel's memories, why Marcel decided to defend him, right? And even the fact that he couldn't be chosen because Reiner was chosen at that time, etc., etc. I mean, we can understand that even Porco can feel important because that Porco was never chosen as a Titan at the beginning, and Reiner was. But the fact that now he is rescuing Reiner, even if he's no more alive, but he is just in his previous Titan forms. Yes, see, all these characters that died previously, but they couldn't find the peace, and they were stuck still in this place. And now, little by little, all these characters that they feel important by doing something that actually will change things, because the rumbling will be stopped thanks to Xaver, thanks to Porco, thanks to Marcel, thanks to Bertold, who are trying to rebel against the Shubino Kyojin, and of course, thanks to Zik. Yeah, sorry, thanks to Ymir, Historia's friend, but even especially, yes, thanks to Zik, who is doing the thing that finally everyone was expecting to have to happen. So as you can see, even Marcel that is protecting them because of his bad choices, or he thinks that he made bad choices. He is protecting Reiner, who was chosen because of his mistake. Porco is protecting Reiner for his personal, for his personal interest, because he wanted to shine in front of Reiner. Ymir that is protecting them because she doesn't want them to fail, especially now that finally they are all together, and especially because she always thinks about Historia. Kruger, who is trying to help them because of the purpose that was said from the future to save Mikasa, Armin, and all the others. Grisha, who is contributing to help them to stop these controlled titans because of all the sins that he committed throughout his life. So a way to repent, even by trying to save those who were on the other side of the ocean, because of his brainwash that he transmitted to Zeke too. And now he has a way to repent himself by helping humanity in general and not be controlled by his thoughts anymore, or the people who installed these thoughts in him. So, as you can see, this moment of rebellion is characterized by seeing each character one by one, but even generically speaking, the rebellion of someone who is controlling others. Um, it's so powerful, this moment, that it's so hard to analyze it if we think about it. But the beauty of this scene in which you see that there are no more one against the other one, but they are all fighting for the same purpose. Yes, so that's awesome. Yes, and yes, Zeke too, because finally he had reached he had reached his goal to stop Eren somehow, and be sure that his father would have been so proud of him at least one time, as he has always wanted, as much as to be sure to stop something without his plan. He found another way to stop Eren. So it's the confirmation that what you think that it's the only option to stop something or to change something, it's not true, because until you try all the other options, you will never know if that option was exactly the one and only. And this refers to Eren's conviction, who thought that the rumbling was the one and only way to stop everything for good for Paradise. So as you can see, Zeke is the confirmation that until you try you will never know. So this is really important to admit it to itself, even if he says yes to Xava. He will say later, look, yes, I know that my plan was really good and I still believe it, but already that but makes a difference, um, yeah, even at Zeke, personally speaking, that is something that it's not related to Xaver, or something that is not related to Grisha. Even Zeke himself understands that while he has always thought that his life was meaningless, especially when he was a young kid, now there is the confirmation in front of his eyes that if it was not for him, the rumbling would have never been stopped. So it was worth living for this good thing that was happening later, that helped him understand that while when he was a young boy, he was always the last one. Now he could have proved, especially to himself, that his life was worth it because he helped to save humanity. So even that young Zeke that is looking to this adult Zeke, that made a difference, and let not also the adult Zeke to rest in peace, but even that young boy, that young Zeke as a boy, who has always thought that his life was meaningless. This is so powerful. That makes you understand that everyone means a lot, even if they think it's not true. Everyone means a lot for different reasons. Ah, Zeke reveals himself. I am here, Levi. You were always trying to find me. I'm here. And this time, he is not running away anymore. He is not running. He ran thanks to Peak when in season 3, part 2, Peak came to rescue him and they ran away. He ran away when they were in the middle of the forest and Levi was surrounded by these comrades, changed form into Titans. But this time, Zeke is not escaping anymore. He is not running away anymore because he got all the answers he wanted. So there's no need to escape anymore. I really like this moment in which he is saying, "Look, Levi, I am here now. It's time." If he would have been killed before, things would have gone so differently on. So now it's the proper time, not before. Now it's time. So I really like the moment in which he is trying to catch Levi's attention, because Levi has always ran to has always run to find him, to catch him, and every time it was so impossible that Levi felt so frustrated. But now Zeke stopped and he's saying, Levi, now it's time. You can do it now. Because I feel relieved. Because I can go. Because anyway, my time limit is over and I don't know if the Titan's power will be over. I got all the answers that I wanted. Now you can do it. I admit my loss against you. And wow, I mean, it feels emotional even to think about it. I am the one you wanted to see, right, Levi? Yes. I didn't want to see you though. This is another laughable moment. One of the few laughable moments of this final episode. But I mean, he Zeke is joking. Okay, he has always wanted to perpetrate this fight till the end. This way in which they were always replying to each other in this way that is simply awesome. But yes, I liked so much this moment because he till the end there is no way that he's saying something else rather than something contrary to Levi's point of view. So I really liked this, yes. And in the moment he is seeing Zeke, tum, tum, you see inside Levi's soul, this tum, tum. That means here he is. That's the moment that I was waiting for. I mean, these Ackerman's will that is waking up inside himself. As much as this tum tum happened in Mikasa when she found her will from that moment on, that means Eren saved me, so I will be sure to save him now because I found the one that is coming here to rescue my life. So Mikasa found the purpose of of her life in that moment. As much as for Levi now, he found the goal in front of his eyes. And this tum tum that is happening reminds me of the Ackerman's power that gives that is released more intensely speaking the moment in which the Ackerman himself or herself is finding the objective moment to do something, the goal in front of their eyes. Amazing. Connie is confused because he's saying what's going on. But Armin is saying it's all thanks to Zeke. So the way in which Armin is also admitting these things, and he's not taking, um, and he's not taking all the reward to himself. I mean, he is not saying, "Oh no, it's because I talked to Zeke, I awakened Zeke, and now things are different." No, Armin is really humble and he wants to praise Zeke because Zeke actually talked to most of them while he concentrated himself talking to Bertold. But he doesn't want to shine. I mean, Armin, even in this moment, doesn't want to shine in front of everyone so all the others say, "Oh, good job, Commander, that was great." But he prefers to let Zeke shine because once he got what Armin meant, he made the difference for sure. Exactly. He awakened our comrades in the paths where there's no life or death. Yes, in the previous analysis, I called this place like a limbo because actually it's a limbo. It's a place where you don't find life, you don't find death because even Ymir couldn't die but kept surviving. But at the same time, she kept surviving. She couldn't live, and in fact Ymir was not living too, but it's a place not only where you can think and the time is dilated, but on the contrary it's a place where you lose your ability to think. you lose the ability to find a real answer because you keep struggling to dig inside Ymir's memories like Zik did. But as you could see, Zik couldn't find the proper answers until Armin came to awake him, and then he awoke all the others. But yeah, this limbo, that it's pretty meaningful because it's like as if you are in a sort of a hypnosis status of mind where you think that you're thinking, but actually you keep going around on the same thought without finding any sort of answer. So the fact that they could be awakened and they could go out and find a way to escape from there because of their own will and not because of other people's will. That means Eren's will or Ymir's will to keep them over there, but they could choose for themselves to go out. That's really great because that's the only way to go out from the paths, to have a strong will and to be able to not be convinced or to be hypnotized somehow by the context itself, by understanding the meaning, the importance of living life. Yes, exactly. The founder, Ymir, is seeking connection. So that's a sort of a confirmation of the fact that she brought Armin over there, that she took Armin away because she wanted to create some connections, like in the case that we saw, first with Bertold, then with Zik. But yes, she is always seeking connection. That is something that she has always lacked of in her life, because she desperately tried to connect and to find a way to connect with others, even if others were using her and were not paying attention on her. So this will that she had to connect, to let Armin connect with others, or even when Eren hugged her and she felt considered, and you could see that for the first time her eyes were not blurred, but we could see her eyes clearly. It's like as if that hug could could her let reach the outside world by giving Eren's power. As much as they are all trying to go out from this dimension of the past, it was a connection that was needed to wake her up. So throughout all these 2000 years, she felt unconscious, or let's say unable to think how to go out from there, but unable to think about a way to solve things. But Eren, with that hug, it seems as if he awoke her as much as Armin awoke the others. And probably Ymir remembered or understood once for all her real intention was. That means to reach Mikasa. Because before Eren's hug, I think that yes, she was passively waiting in that area, but um, on the other side, she was too much devoted to the Titans, to King Fritz, to the royal bloodline, that she was not paying attention on what was worth it. And hugging her, thanks to Eren's hug, she understood that the right thing to do probably was to terminate to end these Titans' power. And the way in which she was able to end these Titans' power was to find a person who was showing her that this would have been possible. But yes, so this connection that Ymir wanted to do throughout these 2000 years, it's awesome. Huh? She was searching for something from us. Yes, actually, Ymir is searching something from everyone because everyone is descending from her, and everyone is having a part of the power that she incorporated in one before she was being eaten. So she felt attached to all of them, also because for sure she is depending on all these descendants, not only because she can help them to create titans, but also because she feels a part of them as much as they are part of her. So there is this connection, a deep connection that can't her let go away from that place until she will be able to do it later when she will be able to rest in peace. Eh, yes. While Zeke is talking to all the others, Armin is facing Bertold. But it came true in another way, Zeke. I mean, you, Zeke, are saying that your dream with Xava didn't come true, but actually, in my opinion, is the contrary. Because you stopped the rumbling, and by stopping the rumbling, I understand. Okay, I understand Zeke's point of view because Zeke's plan was to end the alien population with this euthanasial plan, but and that's why he thought if we erase, let's say, the aliens, then the paradise will never be attacked by the rest of the world because the threatening will be over from Marley and all the other countries' point of view. While if they keep existing, probably in the future other conflicts are happening and things will repeat over and over again. And in fact, at the end of the episode, we see that that's true. I mean, they couldn't make this dream come true because other attacks, other wars against the paradise will start. So this is definitely true. But on the other side, I would like to say to Zeke that somehow he make some of his dreams come true, and that's the most important thing. So I think that he did the right thing. But if it meant I could play catchball with you, I wouldn't mind being born again. And this is a huge statement because Zeke was the one who has always thought that it was not worth living, especially when he was a boy, and he always loved to be cared by Grisha, and that maybe Grisha one day would have recognized him, would have played with him, would have spent time with him, rather than brainwashing him all the times. That was the hardest moment for Zeke, in which he understood I would have not liked to be born. And he's talking to Xava about these throughout the episodes, especially in the episode in which we see this relationship between him and Xaver. But finally, he is understanding what Xava meant before dying, because I want to remark this as much as I said during the action that even Xaver said the same thing to him, that even if he had a disastrous life, and even if he knew that this Titan, the Beast Titan, had to pass from him to Zeke, the most even if he saw his wife dying and his little boy dying too, and he thought that it was not worth living, Xaver knew that that time spent with Zeke helped him to understand that it was so good to be born for that, because after the tragedy that happened to his family, Zeke could have been the one who saved him from having bad thoughts, from being stuck in a mood that wouldn't be possible to be regained without something special happening. Something special that doesn't mean something sophisticated. It can be even something like a catchball, something. That could recreate in Xaver's life a sort of routine that he completely lost. Um, and to create that special moment in which they could meet, where both of them could have understood each other, both they could have found the similarities to their life. Hello, General, hello, hello. And the ability to see that even if something tragic can happen in each one's life, we can always try a way to survive, stand up again, and move forward. That's the principle that I told you that it's reminded throughout all these entire episode. That means reach the bottom and then arise once again like the phoenix. I think that even Xaba had that moment when he lost his family, and then with Zeke's arrival, things changed. And he gave hope to himself once again, and he gave hope to Zeke to find someone who could take care for him. And that's why what Armin says is totally true, because as much as Zeke, as much as he found that it was worth living because of that tree memory, because of the moments of the memory of him reading books, of the memory of him maybe reaching the sea, etc., etc., etc. Even for Zeke, he understood, Xava understood that in order to reach that scene to um, catchball, to play catchball with Zeke, he passed some negative moments, but then some positive memories or moments happened that could create these special memories that could have been treasured by Zeke too when he could recollect Xaver's memories. So even for Zeke, it was a confirmation that what Xava was saying to him, it was not a lie, but he definitely cared about him as a person that matters. But to be able to recreate the special moments after a disastrous life makes you understand that we can't see life in one way only. And instead of thinking negatively completely, we can have a chance to restart. Of course, we will be damaged for some certain reasons that we will never forget some memories, but there is always a way to restart. And that's the problem for Eren, for example, because after he saw his mother dying, there was no turning back for him. There was no way he could restart faking that nothing happened and go ahead with his life. Even Xaver and Zeke didn't fake that nothing happened, but for sure they found a way to find a little light in the middle of a pure darkness. Eren couldn't find this little light, or he found it, that is, his friends and especially Mikasa, but he preferred to treasure that light and to keep them going on living instead of living those moments with these people too. So it's a different kind of a sacrifice. But I am happy that Zeke, after all this time, was understanding Xava when Xava was saying, anyway, it was worth to go on living because I would have not had the possibility to play catchball with you. So my life means a lot because of that moment in which I was playing catchball with you. Because when I was playing catchball with you, Zeke, I could regain ability. I could live life again, instead of keep going on surviving. So all these things, simply great. Wow, and then he's thanking even Grisha. We know how much Zeke hated Grisha to to have treated him as nothing, and to keep bullying him, to brainwash him, to not praise him, not even once. While later, yes, he did it, but now he's thanking him to let him be able to be born, because he could have met Xava and he could have enjoyed these times together with him. I also think that it was worth living, even to hear from Grisha in season 4, part 2, when Grisha said sorry to Zeke. And I think that it was worth living even in the moment in which he met Eren the first time. So he knew that he could have had a family still. He could have had a little brother to protect him. So all these feelings worth it. And I don't think that that's the only moment in which he's thanking Grisha, because um, Zik is worth going on living even for the moment that we reach in a few seconds. That means the possibility to make a difference by stopping the rumbling. So I think that, yeah, emotionally speaking, in that moment, Zik is saying to Grisha, "Thank you because you let me be born for meeting Xava and collect good memories with him." But I think that Zik should appreciate his life also for many other moments that made his life being worth living. But it's so great that he's thanking Grisha, because he was hating Grisha so much throughout the years, and now he is praising him by saying thank you. And I think even Grisha, you see Grisha's face, how um, emotional he feels in that moment, because he fortunately had the chance to stabilize a relationship that was unstable, a relationship that was it was falling apart. But in this final episode, as you can see, they have the chance to talk for the last time and to be able to confront themselves in a, yeah, in a meaningful way, in a positive way, in a propositive way. And that's how it should have been. I like the way in which these characters are ending here, because while we think that there is no happy ending in this story, I think that in these small moments there is a sort of a happy ending. Even the fact that these owners can rest in peace finally, and that they could have been awakened, it's a sort of a happy ending. Or the way in which these characters like Armin and Zeke can confront the previous Titan owners and say what they really feel, that's a sort of a happy ending. That it's not characterized by Eren's death, or by Eren's survival, but it's a small fragment of a happiness, a small fragment of something positive happening that matters. Even if Armin is really honest, I took everything from you: your life, your power, and even your treasured memories. But let me say, as much as I said during the reaction, that Armin took away from Bertold even the girlfriend, because We know how Bertold cared about Annie, and he has never had the chance to convey his feelings or to be corresponded. So Armin feels guilty towards Bertold for this too, even if he didn't specify it. But Annie absolutely was corresponding Armin, and Armin was corresponding Armin, but Bertold was losing even the possibility to convey his feelings, even if I think that Bertold knew that Annie couldn't correspond to him. They were too different, and they couldn't be together. Yeah, but yeah, Armin took everything from Bertold. So if we follow Eren, Eren who's saying the one who's stealing freedom to someone deserves his freedom to be caught. Armin took everything from Bertold. Armin stole from Bertold lots of things, especially his life. So, Eren, you should punish even Armin if we follow exactly what you are saying. Because Eren wants to save even a person like Armin who stole many things from Bertold, or who he wants to save Armin, and Armin can be considered as the savior of humanity, even if Armin was the one who killed lots of people. So Armin too stole freedom from others. So if we follow Eren's principle, this is pretty incoherent to save Armin, the one who stole freedom from others. Do you understand what I mean? But even in that case, Eren is confirming his incoherence because Eren wants to save Armin because it's his friend, because he treasures him as his friend. So Armin has a priority in his heart, even if this creates a pure incoherence as a principle. Okay, so as you can see, Eren's character is contradicting himself multiple times. And it's good that it's like this because it's just portraying what he really is. That is human. He is a human. So that's why, of course, he is showing us all these incoherence throughout the story. And I think it's worth it. We can see how fragile human beings are, how selfish human beings are, and how um, unreliable sometimes they can be. How um, yes, I said the selfishness, how selfish they are, but even how confused they can be based on the moment, based on the situation. That's why I already know that you don't want to just stand here. Yes, Bertold wants to be free and the rest in peace, because by being by his life being controlled, or let's say uh, his life was not completely free to do anything. Now Bertold is requiring that Armin or others, let's say, are helping him to rest in peace and to find the freedom that he could have never had. And also because thanks to the power that Armin and Zeke can have, it's also a way for all these previous owners to be able to move away from this dimension of the paths. So in this little frame, you understand why Armin and Zeke could go out from that dimension, because they requested, they asked the power from all these previous owners who kept being stuck over there. And thanks to this power, they can go out from there and make what these previous owners couldn't do. So these owners right now, it's like as if they put a hand on their shoulders, and they admit what they say so they can go out. And it's thanks to them that Armin and Zeke can go out from the dimension. But yes, exactly. So I think that this was pretty awesome, because you see that even if these previous owners, they lived their lives, so they committed mistakes, they committed the sins and whatever, now even if physically speaking they are gone, they can still make a difference by trying to modify the story as much as they wanted, but they couldn't. And that's a way to let them rest in peace, for sure. Yes, yes, yes. And in fact, yes, exactly. Zeke is saying, let me repeat some sentences. For example, Eh, Zeke is saying the weather is really nice outside, as if it's the first time that Zeke pays attention on the surroundings, because before being awakened, Zeke was trying to perpetrate his, I mean, his plan to reach the goal he wanted, and he has always paid too much attention on certain things without realizing that even when you look outside the window, you can treasure a memory. You can look around yourself and be sure that if you are living, it's because you can even take a glimpse of an eye to the beautiful panorama that is surrounding you. You have the chance by living to look what's around you and not look just in one direction, and appreciate what you find around you, and maybe discovering things you have never discovered. And it's worth living because you have eyes to look around, you have eyes, so please use them to capture things that you have never captured before, to create memories based on what you see, what you touch, what you feel. So our life, even if it seems meaningless because then we die, it's not, because if we had the possibility to be born, we have even the possibility to search, to look around, to experience, to feel. And thanks to what we experience, thanks to what we feel, thanks to what we see, we can help others figure the same things out. We can inspire others so that the other people can be inspired and keep going on what we are doing. We can comfort other people by telling them how to see life. And I think, once again, I wanted to say this is a great way to inspire people who wanted to end their lives to reflect, to think more about what they are going to do. That means end their lives. Because if they end their lives, even if it's a personal choice, not only they will have a reaction from the people surrounding them, but they lose even the possibility to discover that what they were supposed to do, that means to end their life, was not the right thing to do. Because in the moment, the world can give you so many opportunities to change your life and to make it become better and to restart, because there's no way that you reach the bottom only. You reach the bottom to be able to arise, to be able to stand up again. So the infinite possibility that this life can give you shouldn't be wasted. And that's why when Zeke is looking at the weather and he's saying, wow, look how beautiful the weather is today. It's like as if it's the first time that he is recognizing what's surrounding him, and how he can understand the meaning of being living, even by looking at this panorama in front of himself, and see the immense scenario in front of him, um, capturing even that the smallest moment, because even if he knows that he will die really, really soon, to treasure even each second left is really important, because it can give him the way to start the path of resting in peace. And yeah, wow, when he is checking this weather and he is seeing how that sky, how the panorama in front of himself can affect him, emotionally speaking. And sometimes you have panoramas in front of your eyes that you can't even find the proper words to express how you feel. I had those feelings in my life. I don't know in yours, but I had some moments in my life in which I was looking the panorama in front of my eyes and I was speechless. I couldn't even find the proper words to define what I was looking at. Yes, those moments too, they mean, because those things in front of you are affecting you emotionally speaking. So that's why they are worth being lived, because by affecting you emotionally speaking, you feel that you are alive. And that's why even Zeke looking at the weather before dying is he's admiring what he sees and he is emotionally affected by it. And fortunately, in that moment, he can feel things that he has never felt before, as if it's something new, something that even if he grew older, something that he can live again, no matter the age, because it's not true when we say, now I have grown older, so there's no way that I can feel emotional again as before. No, it's not true. No matter the age, you can still feel emotionally speaking involved, and you can feel that that moment is worth it. It can be everything, a gesture, a book, a feeling, the panorama of something, a small detail, a small object, a present, the weather, everything, everything can um, affect you somehow. Very good. Very, very good. If I'd felt that way sooner, well, after I killed so many people, that would be asking for too much, wouldn't it? Yes. Because now that he killed lots of people, he thinks that he doesn't deserve to see something so marvelous in front of his eyes. And probably it was better not to kill so many people and step back and appreciate what he had around him in that life of his. But I think that this moment was more precious. I mean, I think that after he killed lots of people, the fact that he could feel emotional once again after all these bad things happened makes you understand how time can give you the chance to maybe redeem yourself, or maybe try to understand what you have missed so far. Time is a great helper because through time, you can develop your thoughts. You can understand your mistakes, so you can't repeat them later. You can change your mind. You can try to repair, to fix what you have done. Time is limited for us, but it can also be extended based on our emotions. And I think that the time based on emotion can be dilated, can be extended so much that I think Zik, in front of this view, can think or is feeling as if time stopped for a second, and he could treasure this moment, as if this time in front of this scenario is extending so much that can matter more than all the sins that he has committed. So, in order to recreate this balance, this view can seem to last forever, even if it's not, even if it's just a few seconds. But for him, after all the things that he has done, that view, that is a view that he has never seen before, can last even more than all the 13 years that he has passed as a beast titan. So time that is limited but can be for a few seconds even unlimited. The power that resides inside ourselves to extend the time, to reduce it, to make it faster, to make it longer, um, even if we have a limited life, the way in which we live life can determine if we are able to extend the time or to reduce it and make it super fast. So even if it's true that we can't be, we can't live forever, I think, on the contrary, that sometimes we feel as if we could live forever. And that's a beautiful feeling. I personally felt it sometimes. But he also think, look, it's not fair that I can check these beautiful things surrounding me because I killed so many people that I don't. It doesn't seem to be fair that I have the pleasure to see this, that I have the possibility to see these kind of things. It's better if people who have never killed anyone, if people who could have had the chance to be good people in life, have the chance to see something beautiful like this. He is, let's say, punishing himself for everything he has done. But I think that what he did, that means stopping the rumbling, could redeem at least a part of his sins. Not entirely, but part of them. And then he closed his eyes because he thought that it was not worth looking at the panorama. And he also knew that Levi was coming. So he felt that that was the right moment. And in 1 second, as you can see, his life was gone. And Levi, on the other side, could reach the goal. So, what's for us maybe a goal, for others is the end. I mean, what for us is the beginning of a feeling good because we reached our goal, for others might seem the end for something that can be their life or their experience. So everything is subjective here. What for someone means something good, for others can mean something bad. What for others can mean reach a goal, for others can be the beginning of the end. What for others can seem a dream, for others can turn into a nightmare. So the difference of a perspective that rule this story as a subject is fundamental. And this head that is rolling around as much as in season 4, part 2, when Gabi shot that that rifle, and Eren's head was rolling all around. Even in this case, Zeke's head is rolling and is ending his life. Let's say that these Jaeger brothers somehow changed the world. Do you remember when Yelena was saying, "Let's see how these Jaeger brothers will change the world"? Actually, they did it. Zeke on one hand, and Eren on the other hand. And we still have to argue if what Eren did was done so that the Titan powers would have been over or not to cooperate with Ymir in this. But surely you understand that their actions took humanity to a change somehow that is relevant, that is going to last forever. No, but for their story, for what they had to teach others later in the future, that's already a change from both sides. So somehow these Jaeger brothers changed something for good. Wow, this instant moment in which you see Levi that finally reached his goal. And now, yes, it's time for Levi to ask himself what to do with his life later. Because now that he has reached this goal, and the time that he invested to reach this goal took him more than the real time of the moment in which he reached it. I mean, to reach the moment in which he could kill Zeke lasted so much time compared to the moment in which he actually killed Zeke, that is 1 second. And he invested all his recent life to reach that goal that lasted 1 second. Now Levi has to find another goal in his life. From now on, Levi is free from this goal that had to be reached, waiting for the next one coming. So now for Levi is important to understand that his life didn't finish now that he reached this goal, this important goal. That was not just a promise to himself, but a promise to Erwin, and a promise to all these people who lost their lives because of Zeke. But at the same time, um, now he needs to find another purpose in life. He has to find what's next that keep him being alive, and we will see it later. That is one of the greatest purposes, but we will talk about Levi in that scene too. The silence. When Zeke was killed, finally the world stop the rumble. And the I really like the even there is a contrast between noise and silence of the rumbling that is affecting the world. And they were even saying that you couldn't even hear the voices, right? The voices of people, because the rumbling was rumbling too much. It was too catastrophical and too noisy that you couldn't even hear other people's voices. But now the rumbling stops, and you see the calm after the tempest, after the tragedy. This is so powerful. And I forgot to analyze another thing. Yes, when Levi is killing Zeke once for all, you see the light coming on top of them, and all the darkness surrounding that scene, in which you see Levi with the sword already like this, and the head of Zeke floating behind in the air. So this light that means the end of a period and the beginning of another one, but even the resolution of everything. So I really really liked this moment, because you know that the contrast of a black and white, the contrast of a warm and cold tones of colors, that even, yes, silence versus noise, all these things that are characterizing in an anime, things that in the manga you can't perceive. And yes, this slow motion, because everything that Levi was investing is ended in few seconds, but this slow motion as if time stops, because what's after now? I mean, let's underline the way in which this moment is ending, because now, from now on, something else has to happen. But that moment that means everything, that moment that meant lots of sacrifices, lots of people losing their lives, that moment that refers to all of these years in which they tried their best to reach that goal, ends in 1 second. But that second can last forever in that moment. Yes, the rumbling stops. And you see, yes, you see Karina and all the others looking at this rumbling, stopping, while they thought that their life was almost ended. I mean, they were almost dying, right? The baby, the baby that stopped the crying, even because this baby, you understand that the baby was crying even because of this huge noise that he couldn't control, and the baby doesn't cry anymore because the noise is over, because the silence prevails on the noise. And these people too who are carrying the baby are stopping over there because they understood that something changed, that maybe there is a way to survive. It's like as if time stopped. Time stopped for everyone. And you see this gray tone of a color that we saw when these people were trying to help this baby moving back so they could rescue him. This gray tone of color disappears. That means it's not the end of humanity. Things can be solved again, and things can change still. So the colors on these persons that come back, and you see that their lives is not completely gone as they thought, because they thought it was something that they couldn't change, but it's like as if by stopping the rambling, they have another chance. So that's why they are all back colored, because humanity can't be the same for everyone, can't represent everyone. And while before that gray tone of color represented this stillness that can bring humanity to an end, that is already confirmed, that seems to be certified somehow, and the baby was the only hope left. Now these colors are back to people too, so they all have a chance to survive and be the hope for something else coming later. People who are trying to rescue others in the meantime. The beautiful scene in which you see these people like these, and the main leg of the colossal titan so close to them, as if they say, "Oh my, we survived. We thought that we were dying in a few seconds, but it's like as if a time stopped and we can survive." This is amazing, this scene. I mean, you see all these people and the leg of the titan that is almost next to them. That means death that stopped for a second. While for them, death was a certain, like a new chance, like a new way to change things so that it's still possible. It's like as if destiny is telling them, look, you have another chance. Would you like to use it or not? This time, would you like to choose for something good and do the right thing? Or not? The fact that they survived means something. Means, of course, unfortunately, it means that they are different from all the others who lost their lives, unfortunately. And that's something unfair. But on the other side, it means you have the chance to do something different. And you have the possibility to do it. Would you grant this opportunity, or would you like to lose it and repeat the same mistakes? So be grateful that you have this new opportunity to try to see if you can change something, because maybe next time this opportunity will not come again. I like this frame. You see people who are spared, and they are spared based on luck. Because if Zeke's head would have rolled in the air few seconds before, maybe other people would have survived. So it's a matter of luck, or it's a matter of destiny. Sometimes we debate on these kind of things. Is it a matter of luck that we do some things, or that we choose to do some things instead of others? Is it because of our choice? Is it because of destiny that it's already pre-written? So we have a multiple options here. Which one is it? We will never know, sincerely. Even when we think that we are choosing something, are we sure that we are thinking that we are choosing something, or it's already determined, or it's just a matter of luck? But Eren keeps going. Eren keeps going. Ah, and John is going. Sorry that I needed to open the door for a second. Hi. Hi, arigato gozaimasu. Hi, arigato gozaimasu. Hi, arigato. Yes, the spray. Yes, thank you. Okay, sorry guys. I had to open the door because the postman arrived. The delivery man, not the postman. But anyway, yes, I was saying now there is this incredible music, with a John who's trying to do something that we have never expected before, but to see that John tries to do the impossible, wow. This moment in which you see John flying with the ODM throughout all this skeleton is amazing. I love it. And it's like as if while John reaches Eren's neck, Eren is turning his head a little bit. Did you see? Did you notice? Is he turning with his head a little bit because he recognized that John comes and it was something unpredictable, something unexpected for Eren. So Eren, in the meantime, has to try to find a plan B to survive. And in fact, later we see that he survives. But he's turning his head because he's seeing, he's confronting John, and we know that there is even love involved here in the case of Mikasa. eh? Or is he turning because he wants to say, even if Eren doesn't speak, but that's not the right time to kill me because I saw it in the future that from the future that you will not be the one who will kill me. Is he turning towards John because he's looking at him, try to confront him eye on eye and saying, oh, look, he comes to try to kill me, or to say, no, you can't try to defeat me. See, there are lots of interpretations, but the fact that Eren turns a little bit while John he's recognizing that he is moving. My opinion, Eren is searching a plan B, and in fact, later you will see that the plan B is happening, right? Or he's looking at him and because he's saying, okay, now it's time. And I mean, a way to say goodbye to him or to confront the fact that he will kill him because probably, yes, even Eren is not sure about what he saw from the future completely. So, is he feeling surprised that things would have gone in this way, maybe? Or I'm saying something else. Eren probably is not turning towards Jan with his Shubi no Kyojin face. That's just the perspective of Jan to look at his face for what he thinks that it's his last time, to look at him as a Shubi no Kyojin and say what he says. That means, you suicidal dumbass. That's something that he has always told him from season one. It was his way to provoke Eren. Even if we know that John cares about Eren so much, but that was his way to provoke him and to say that he was so instinctive all the times that he was never thinking about what he was doing, and he was never using rationality to um, understand what his next move would have been. So this instinct that doesn't represent John at all, because John is always being afraid of use instinct instead of reason. And he has always wanted to have a plan and then act, while Eren was always the opposite. Eren has never wanted to stay there and think and think and think. He was instinctive. He promoted instinct than rationality and reason, call it as you like. But in this case, John is using this final statement before let the weapon explode, because it's a way to remind ourselves on their behavior and how they had their relationship together, even from season one. That is pretty emotional, yes. And for John, I mean, to John, it seems to be the last moment he's seeing Eren. So, as you can see, once again, I remark this the will to say or to do things that you know that that they seem the last things to do before something happens, these previous seconds that matter so much because you have the occasion to speak, to say, to do, to express, and whatever. Even in John's from John's point of view, that was the right time to say that sentence, because for him, he believed that it was the last time he could see Eren. So that was the proper time for him to tell him something that he has always told him. But Eren knew that when John was saying things like this, it was because he really cared about him and not because he was an antagonist of him. And Eren, you see Eren's Shuri no Kyojin's head collapsing. But you also see that immediately this creature comes out and who keeps wanting to reach Eren so much, so badly, because the mission of this creature is to keep going on surviving through time and the space, to go on living, because the most important thing for this creature is to go ahead no matter if this takes lots of lives, because even this creature seems to be pretty selfish, because this creature goes from one being to another one and it persists. So the will of this creature to go on, that is more or less even part of what the Shingeki no Kyojin has always wanted. That means to move forward without being stopped. To even if they try to stop you, to keep moving forward. That's a characteristic of one of the titans that were divided from the source, that is Ymir. So we don't have to forget that too. Rainer is amazing. Um, I want to say another thing before ending this live streaming, that this creature. No, I will talk about this when we talk about the creature in the next live streaming. You will understand why, because I wanted to reach the thumbnail first. Okay, so let's go ahead for a second, and later I will tell you. Reiner is trying to stop this creature, and you understand how strong Reiner is. That is the only one who's confronting this creature directly, because all the others are on top of Falco, and some others, I mean, like in the case of Jan, he was taking care of this weapon to let it explode on Eren's neck. So a Reiner that keeps pushing himself to its limit, and in the meantime, the Jan is sorry. Is it Connie who's talking? Wait a second. I want to see who's talking. Ah, okay, 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 okay. Connie is saying, "Look, guys, there is Armin ready to transform into the colossal titan. So let's move away from here." But anyway, I mean, John is still afraid of Reiner's life. He is afraid that he is going to die. So, as you can see, one more time, John, who has never cared so much about Reiner, especially for what happened with Marco, especially with later when they betrayed them, etc., now John is showing us how much he cares about Reiner after all this time, one more time. Exactly. while John feels afraid for Reiner because he says, okay, but if army is exploding now, Reiner is going to die. And Pieck says, no, 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 because the armor titan has the ability to survive even after an explosion like that of the colossal titan. So he will not die. Reiner is. Oh. And finally, we reached the thumbnail. That is what I wanted to reach. Armin, that is thanking all these previous owners. And in fact, you can see Marcel, you can see Bertold, you can see Ymir, Historia's friend, of course. You can see Bertold, you can see Grisha, Kruger, and Xava cooperating all together, helping Armin to reach almost the position, the geographical position of Eren to explode, to transform into the colossal titan. And I wanted to end this live streaming with his last statement because then we will take this afternoon. After 3 hours, I will start another live streaming. So be sure to be here with me. But let's hear what he's saying. We couldn't have stopped the rumbling without the help of all of you. And of course, he's saying with the help of all of you, quotating even Zeke's presence because Zeke is gone, but Zeke too was pretty essential in this. This moment, guys, is so powerful to me. Yes, it is so powerful because if you can notice, and I just analyze this scene, and then the live streaming will be over. But first of all, you see the eyes of a resignation of Armin because he knows that he thinks that maybe by transforming, Eren will be gone. And second of all, the resignation because he has always wanted to talk to Eren for the last time before reaching this solution, but he thinks that he couldn't. So even these eyes that they look almost down as if there's no other way. We reached the end. And at the same time, the desperate face of Mikasa that now knows that there's nothing else to do. So this face that you see of Mikasa, that she doesn't even rebel anymore. She's just looking and somehow she hopes maybe that Eren survives. But on the other hand, she knows that now things are chosen and she's on top of a Falco right now, so she can't even reach them anymore. So pure resignation. And then this goodbye, Eren. That is so emotional. I wanted to praise Armin's voice actress because when she said Sayonara Eren, it was, I mean, it made me cry so much, let me be honest. But you saw it even with the reaction, so that's something undeniable. But of course, we know that later he's not gone, but in the moment I was watching the episode to see this Sayonara Eren, oof, it got me chills. And I wanted to praise one last thing that chose the choice of colors because all these previous Titan owners, you see that they are bluish. That represents the fact that they are gone. I mean, they are not alive anymore, but they could contribute thanks to the memories, thanks to the paths, to what was done. And this red tone of color that you will see immediately after, that is representing a huge contrast that defines this hell on earth, as much as I always like to say. Okay, guys, in the meantime, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for this live streaming. Finally, I reached the thumbnail that was my goal to reach. And see you later with another live streaming coming really soon. So stay tuned and keep on watching. In the meantime, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for all of the beautiful comments you have written, as always. And see you really soon with part 7 of this huge and endless analysis of the final episode of Shingeki no Kyojin. Bye, guys. See you later. Thank you so much. Bye. See you. Bye bye. Bye.